Welcome back for another ECS Tuning DIY. Today we're going to change the oil on a BMW 335 Xi with the N54 motor. From a tools perspective, you really just need basic hand tools. About the biggest specialty tool for this job is an oil filter wrench of some kind. This one specifically fits over the housing, unscrews the lid, and it's off easy. If you're going to be doing this at home and you're doing this on jack stands, you really should consider getting our Schwab jack pad adapter. This slot fits into a receiver on the 335, and then your jack comes up and lifts it, and it keeps everything locked in. It's a nice safety element, and it keeps you from wrecking the pinch welds on your car. From a fluid perspective, we're using BMW OEM 5W30. Hanks filter, and of course our ECS Tuning sticker so that you know what oil change interval to hit for the next time. We have some basic rubber gloves and work gloves, shop towels, brake cleaner, nothing fancy. This is a very easy and straightforward DIY. To get started, we're just going to break the cap on the top of the motor, and on the 335 with the N54, this is captive, so it'll hang right there. You don't generally want to leave it open like this because you never know what small thing might fall in there, so just leave it cracked so as we drain it, you don't get all that back pressure trying to keep the oil in the pan. You can also take the filter housing cap off now. You could even change the filter while you're up top and then go down and drain it. It's kind of tomato, which one you do first, but we'll follow the all data and we'll do the filter after we drain the oil. Under the car here, we're just going to drop this little service flap. Now this is a 335 Xi, so you're going to have a little bit of a different subframe, but everything should look pretty similar to you if you're working on a regular 335i, and of course if you have the Xi, it should all match this. There's a half moon shaped plastic pivot point here that'll then drop the door down, and you should be able to see your drain plug right here. You want to be sure your car is a little bit warm before you do this too, so drive it around the block and come back and do this just to help all the oil evacuate. If you do it cold, it's going to take a longer time for the oil to come out as it's a little thicker than it will be if it's warm. And again, let's see if I'm faster than the oil. I'm already losing. Feeling good. It's still one. We'll let that drain out. All our kits will come with a new copper crush washer. We're going to reuse the factory drain plug, and then the new Hanks kit comes with a replacement crush washer. Simply put it on and feed it in. And while that's on there hand tight, I'm just going to spray it with a little bit of brake cleaner to get the excess dribbles off. With the drain plug hand tight, we'll just finish it off at 25 Newton meters. This is a 17 millimeter. Then we'll close up the flap. Move that little half moon plastic piece back around. Head back up and take the filter out and add some oil. We're going to use our oil filter wrench on our oil filter cap. We'll unscrew that and the filter will come up with the cap. It'll be captive in there. We'll separate those two, let it drain in the waste bin, and then I'll put a new filter in. Once you get this loose, you want to let it sit here for a second and drain the rest of the waste oil back down into the housing so that you have a lot less dribbles across your engine bay. So you'll notice here the filter is captive in the cap. Give it a little tug and it should come out. Let your cap drain, and then we're going to replace this O-ring with a new one from the Hanks kit. Using a little hook tool, we're just going to pry this out. You don't want to get overly ambitious here because this is all plastic. Out with the old and in with the new. Take some of your waste oil and just lube up that O-ring. It'll help everything sit back into the housing when we go to put it back in. Change out the big O-ring on the housing next. Hard to do with greasy fingers. So similarly, just come in and work the old one out. Put the new one on. And again, a little bit of waste oil, just lube up the ring. Last part is the new filtering element. There is not an up or down side, so you can just put her in, it locks on. Put it back in the engine. So you can see why we need to lube up the O-ring. This is going to be seated in this aluminum housing, so it just needs a little bit of help sealing so that you don't tear the O-ring as you screw it back in. Now it's going to get firm as you get up to the O-ring. Just go nice and slow by hand until it bottoms out. And then we'll do a final torque spec of 25 Newton meters. And if you forget that, it's written on the oil cap. Final torque with the torque wrench. There, you can feel it just locked. And one more for good measure. Done here. Final step is to add oil. We have a clever Schwaben tool here that we'll use as the oil cap adapter. So we put on the 2-prong oil cap adapter, stick it on, give it a little tightening, and now your funnel stays put. I think it's genius. Sometimes the best tools are the simplest. Our oil service kits come with 7 liters of oil. I like to put 6 in and then measure everything on the MMI before we go ahead and add all 7 and find out that was too much and have to drain some back out. 1 down, 5 more to go. For some reason, when I was a kid, we just didn't have funnels around the house. I don't know if we always lost them or we just never used them. So what my dad taught me was you have to be real graceful and pour that first one in. And then while the jug is sitting there, you just take your razor blade and slice the bottom off. Boom, free funnel. But you know, if you're not majestic at pouring oil, we have this beautiful Schwaben funnel, which I think my dad would approve of. All right, so this is our 6th liter. We'll let this one go all the way in, and then we'll check the MMI oil level. We took the funnel out, shut the engine oil cap, and now we're inside the car, and we're going to fire it up and read the MMI for where the oil level is. On our MMI, we're just going to click the wheel here to go into info. You're going to go to info sources, service info, and then as you scroll down, you can do engine oil level. And if it's been running for a little bit, it'll say engine oil level okay. Now you can see the min to the max, so we're good there. And you can see that we have a decent amount of room back in the graphic here. We could probably add a little bit. I'll probably add a splash from the 7th liter, and keep an eye on it as the filter fills up and some of it pumps through the motor. You might see some adjustments, on day 2, but it's that simple. So we've just topped off our oil, and the last step of all this is going to be to reset the service interval through our dashboard, which will put it back to the BMW recommended mileage for oil changes. Very straightforward. Just going to put the key in and turn the car on, but don't start it. You're then going to hold this little push button in the bottom left of your dash until the service interface comes up on the screen here. There we are. And now using your stalk, you're going to page through until you get to the oil service there, and you're going to press and hold the button on the end of the stalk. You see the reset pop up on the screen. Once more, button push on the stalk. And there you go. It's reset to 18,000 miles or May of 2023. But that is the recommended interval from BMW. That's it for this DIY. I hope you can see how easy and straightforward it is. As always, we'll link to the products, tools, and everything you need to do this in the description below. I hope you like, follow, and subscribe for more sweet car content.